All right. Well, sorry for the little late start, but welcome to the March 20th, 2019 meeting of the Traffic and Transportation Advisory Commission. Please rise and follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Mrs. Marcello, please call the roll. Cello.
It's Marcelino, sorry.
Celino.
Commissioner Email,
Present.
Commissioner Lemo,
Here.
Vice Chair Gregory,
Here.
Chair Simpson, and Commissioner Reader are absent. Thank you.
Okay. Well, now, we kind of have a sad thing to do right now, and that is we have to say goodbye to somebody that's been on this commission for quite a few years. Commissioner Susan Engler is leaving us, and we're going to miss her. Do you have some words to say?
I do. I believe that Sue is probably one of the best traffic commissioners we've ever had because she was as inquisitive as any citizen would be who didn't have all the information we had. So she has the talent of asking questions that I think people who were not on the commission reading all of our stuff would ask. And I think that was something we haven't seen on the commission for quite some time. And now she's kind of like First Lady of Thousand Oaks. So she's not only helped us here, but she inspired her husband to greater things. So thank you, Sue.
There you go. We're only as good as the people that support us, right? Always. Anyways, let me say a few things up here, and then I have something to present to you. But I, too, am going to miss you. Your insights were always very valuable, and I mean, we all have similar thoughts, and we always go, hey, I was going to say that, but I always found that you had something or looked at it a little different that always had validity and really added to the conversation. So whenever we can come up with the best solution, looking at all the alternatives, we do our job, and we support the people like we were asked to do, and I want to thank you very much. Also, it's never fun to have to take your personal time to come here sometime. And I understand you're a really good basketball fan, right? So there's a few games you missed. No, I was kidding about that. Oh, I think that was me I was talking about. No. Anyways, no, you'll be missed very much. And I know you contribute to a lot of different things, but maybe we'll get you back one of these days. And we have this great accommodation in honor of you, and I hope you'll keep it and remember us fondly, all right? I'm going to hand this off to you.
Does she get more than 3 minutes?
We'll give her 5.
All right.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. You're on.
Okay, so I just want to thank you guys. Welcome to the commission. I have loved the 7 years that I served on the commission, and I am leaving with a sad heart because I did enjoy it, and I felt that it was a great opportunity to see how well our city works. And I know that this commission is it's the first step for a lot of our residents, and this commission really helped our residents accomplish a few things, like say what their concerns were, have people who listened, staff who are willing to step up and help. I mean, you really are terrific. And it really has been a joy. So I want to thank you guys. And I thank the entire commission, ladies and gentlemen. So that's really all I have to say.
Well, you will be missed. I'm sorry?
A picture?
Oh, sure. We're going to do a quick picture. So
Can Sue get in the picture too?
yeah. We're not going to make you sit through the whole report we have coming up. How are we going to do this? Thank you.
See you soon.
All right. There you go. All right. So actually, we have a new commissioner that we want to welcome aboard, and it's Commissioner Lawrence Immel. I think I got that right. Darn, I'm so bad with names lately. Anyways, normally we do a swear-in, but since we're a couple commissioners short today, he graciously allowed us to do it early so we could officially call the meeting today. So, Lawrence, welcome aboard. You want to say a word?
Well, I'm just glad to be here, and I'm glad to make this meeting possible by being sworn in early. I certainly appreciate the meeting that I just had with the city attorney and the engineers. I grew up in Thousand Oaks. I've since the age of 5, all the way through my graduation from Westlake High School, and this city has meant the world to me, and I was so happy when I could move my family back here about a year and a half ago, because the birth of my daughter necessitated that we get out of the craziness of LA, and I told my wife I have the perfect place for us to be. That's back in my hometown of Thousand Oaks. So I'm ecstatic to be back, and I'm very happy to be sitting on this board. So thank you very much for all of you who made that possible. Thank you.
All right, and we're glad to have you aboard. We look forward to your future contributions. And please feel free to ask any questions. That we all went through a learning process, and still are, for that matter. All right, so we're going to move on to 6 because we do have a big report coming up. Let's see, election of new chair. Term runs till March 2020. Do we have any nominations? All right, Mr. Commissioner Lemo, sorry.
Good evening, Vice Chair. My nomination for chair is Tom Gregory. I'm not sure how many years, but I know that you are the longest running member. I was
This
going
will
to say
be my 15th.
This is your 15th, so
Yeah.
I think that would be, this is a great way for you to wrap up number 15 and start
you
number
go.
16.
There you go. Thank you very much. I appreciate the nomination. Do we have a second?
I'm going to second.
Oh, all right. Well, then thank you. I accept. So let it be read. All right, we'll move on to 7, and that's election of a new vice chair. And if I recall correctly, Commissioner Lemo is up for that. It's his rotation and turn, so I nominate him. Do we have a second for that?
Second.
All right, then we're official. Okay, well, number 8 should go fairly quick because we have public comment. And I'm looking here, and there's a big sea of empty seats, so I think we could probably skip over that one today. All right. We do have a big report, and we want to get to it. So we're going to skip over public comment, and that puts me to approving summary notes from our last meeting. And so do we need a vote for that? To approve the summary notes? All right. We're going to do a show of hands, or we don't need one? Okay. All right. They're approved. Wasn't anything that critical. We just put some stop signs in where that's all.
That was all.
That's all. And not for traffic control. All right. Let's see. So we're going to move on to 10, and we have a big report, and it is the draft Citywide Traffic Impact Mitigation Fee Nexus study. And this is actually a study that we used to do every 5 years. It's been moved to 2 years. It's pretty comprehensive, and anybody that's interested in what the biggest concerns we have today, but also projected out to 2040. This is a good report. So basically, Kathy, are you giving that one today? Or
Kathy.
Kathy is, okay. All right.
Okay, before I start, it appears Esther wants to do
Oh,
something.
she wants to give me my new, okay. Well, thank you. Is this the gold-plated one? Okay, thanks. Anodized, anyway. Anyway,
Thank you,
so
Esther.
we'll move on to the traffic report, which is something that we are going to vote on whether we are going to accept it and move on to the city council with it. So go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay, thank you, Chair Gregory and members of the Traffic and Transportation Advisory Commission. Tonight you will hear a presentation on the draft Traffic Impact Mitigation Fee Study. Since 1968, the city began conducting a community opinion survey to sample resident satisfaction and sentiment on a variety of important community issues. A survey was conducted in 2017, and the results revealed traffic congestion is the issue of highest concern with the residents. In response to the survey results, Kimley Horn & Associates, an engineering firm, was hired to prepare a comprehensive citywide traffic study. The preliminary results of the traffic study were not the same as the results of the community opinion survey. Staff revised the scope of work and added more intersections and road segments, and a different methodology was introduced for analyzing traffic congestion. Historically, the city uses the ICU or the capacity methodology to determine the level of service at intersections. It looks at how big an intersection is and how many cars are going through it and determines how much capacity is available. The HCM, or the delay methodology, is a methodology that measures delay in terms of how much time it takes to travel through an intersection. Level of service, or LOS, is commonly used to measure how an intersection is operating. An LOS-A is the best, and an LOS-F is the worst. Using the capacity methodology, only one intersection operates below the level of service C today. It's the northbound off-ramp at the 23 and Olson during the morning commute. As you can see from all the green on this map, the results of the ICU methodology does not reflect the results of the opinion survey. Using the delay methodology, 16 intersections are operating below a level service C, either in the AM or the PM. And you can see how that's depicted on the map with all the red. The intersection of Lynn Road and Avenida de los Arboles during the AM peak hour provides a good illustration of the difference in the two methodologies. During the morning commute hour, traffic is heaviest on Lynn Road, with most of the traffic traveling southbound towards the 101, which is shown with the green arrow. The traffic signal is green for Lynn Road for 2/3 of the cycle length. Conversely, Arboles traffic is lower than Lynn Road, and the heaviest movement on Arboles is the westbound left turn lane shown with the red arrow. The ICU methodology evaluates the total capacity of each lane. In this case, the left turn on Arboles has a capacity of 1,600 vehicles per hour. In the morning, 170 vehicles turn left, which is significantly lower than the capacity, which makes for a good level service. In this case, it's a level service C. The HCM methodology uses traffic volumes and signal timing to determine the level of service. In this case, Lynn Road has 2/3 the volume, and the signal is programmed to stay green for 63% of the cycle length. Because the methodology takes into account the number of cars in the left turn pocket and the amount of time allocated to the Arboles signal, it's able to identify the amount of delay that people are experiencing while waiting for the signal to turn green. The LOS using the HCM methodology calculates at a level service D. Because the ICU methodology identifies the intersection operating at a good level of service, it wouldn't be even on our radar to make any improvements here. The HCM methodology identified the intersection as deficient, and a mitigation project was identified. By restriping the intersection, we're able to improve the level of service from D to C. In this example, the westbound leg of the intersection is currently striped with one left lane, one through lane, and one right turn lane. By restriping, into 2 lefts and 1 shared through and right, twice as many vehicles can turn left without impacting any of the green time on Lynn Road. So the purpose of the traffic study wasn't just to look at how traffic is operating today, but it focused on how traffic will impact the roads in the future and determine which projects need to be constructed to mitigate future traffic. We used a reasonable build out of the city, future housing projects, and the Thousand Oaks Boulevard specific plan. We also took a close look at the trip generation rates and recognized office projects generate more traffic in the PM peak, causing more congestion than any other land use. When applied to the forecasted traffic and using the delay methodology, 24 intersections were forecast to operate at or below a level service D in the year 2040 without mitigation. The city's level service policy requires all but 8 signalized intersections to operate at a level service C or better. Reasonable mitigation measures are proposed for all 24 impacted intersections, and 15 intersections will continue to operate at a level service D. By reasonable, I mean the recommended mitigation measures are all within the city right-of-way, and to improve the intersections would require additional right-of-way. As part of adopting the new citywide traffic impact fees, staff is recommending using the HCM methodology for calculating level service and accepting a level service D for 16 intersections with mitigation. Attachment 5 in your staff report includes the 24 projects that will mitigate future traffic impacts. Staff is requesting the Traffic Commission recommend to the City Council adoption of the mitigation projects included in the staff report, which are based on the HCM methodology for calculating impacts. The next step is for the City Council to review the traffic impact study at their April 23rd meeting. And with that, I thank you, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right. One of our commissioners, Commissioner Lemo, has a question right now.
One thing that struck me is your study is very comprehensive. But when I'm looking ahead at the next 21 years, one of the things I am doing is looking back at the last 3 years. And one of the things that has really happened in the last 3 years that will have a much bigger effect over the next 20 is ride-sharing services, Uber. The fact of the matter is some intersections that we've measured outside the city of Thousand Oaks have reduced by anywhere from 7 to 13% based upon 3 people riding in an Uber or people not using their cars all day long. At some shopping facilities, Ubers now have a special place to drop off. They're up over 30% year to year. Did the company doing the testing provide you with a footnote of any kind regarding ride sharing and what positive impact that may have on mitigating traffic concerns?
No, the answer is no. There's not a footnote. But what there is an understanding that this is a snap in time right now. We look at existing counts, existing trip generation rates based on the land uses, and then there's a projection based on the future land uses of the traffic. And that's based on existing trip generation rates. Going forward, after the city completes their comprehensive plan, the general plan update, which they're working on several years from now, we'll update this study. And very well, 3 years from now, there will be another whole thing that we didn't even know was going to be invented that's out there changing traffic patterns. So this isn't the document for the next 19 years. This is the document right now based on the data that we have available.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I do. I have one question, and my understanding is that the capacity methodology has historically been the methodology that's been used by the city. Is that right?
That's correct.
So, and now the recommendation is to go away from that and use the delay methodology.
That's correct.
So my question is can't the delay methodology be manipulated by reprogramming the lights or the rates at which they change from red to green, green to red?
Not so much manipulate. I don't know, there's so many more inputs in the HCM delay methodology than the capacity methodology. Capacity methodology is very straightforward. It's number of cars over the number of lanes. There's not a lot of inputs. But with the delay methodology, you can take into account signal timing. You can take into account if you have 2 lanes but more cars stack in one lane than the other, you can adjust for that. And the capacity methodology historically is used for when you're planning a city, when you're trying to figure out how big should my intersection be. But since we've now moved to a built-out city, a maintenance city, HCM is really a better fit for our city than the capacity one.
I understand. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, I read through this pretty thoroughly, and I did some different counts. I don't know if they quite agreed with yours, but it forebode some dire intersection problems in 2040 if we do nothing. And I came up with 12 E and Fs and 11 Ds, whereas we only really have one area, literally one, Olson and the 23 northbound right now that's a problem. So that's kind of dire. I saw all these recommendations of fixes to get us basically down to, as I said, if we use this list of what do they call it? It's table 3 recommended mitigation projects, which I'm going to touch on in a second. We get all that down to, where's my count? I think 14 Ds overall, and that's it citywide. So that's pretty good. Now, what I did have one question, and that is your table 3, but it totals on page 18, and it says 88,315,000. But you've got a similar table on page 24, and that one's 404. There's about a million. I don't know if that's a math issue. I wasn't going to compare line to line, but there's about 1,088,000 difference there. Is something added to one that I missed?
Just without looking at the tables exactly, I think the discrepancy is that one of the intersections that was needed to be mitigated, which was Westlake and Canaan, when we applied a different trip generation rate, because we really kept looking at our numbers, and that fell out. So I suspect that the table that has the higher number still has Westlake and Canaan, which was not a very expensive fix in light of how much some of the other mitigation projects were, but it was about that much.
Well, and I know that we're constantly updating priorities for new signals, and I think the next one is scheduled to be Sunset Hills and Herbs and
Correct.
Pedersen and Herbs.
Both of those are in the project.
Yeah.
And I just take note of the discrepancy, and before it goes to council, and make sure it's correct. The numbers.
I just thought I'd bring that up because this is something that we're approving. Go ahead.
My question is not that involved. I have an understanding question that I need some help with. I've been here 33 years. We have a city that is not increasing its population. We are in a no growth mode, infill, if at best. We don't have increasing offices for probably the last 4 to 5 years. Some might even say we have decreasing. And our commercial has stayed, outside of office, has stayed relatively stable, maybe small increases. So what I'm wondering is, what affects our intersections over time, moving from C's to D's and D's to F's? Is it because seniors are spending more time on the road? Is it because we're all growing and our families, we have more teenagers, more cars? Where is the new capacity coming from if we don't have new homes?
Okay.
So actually, this plan anticipates some new homes. And primarily anticipates redevelopment of existing, there's not a lot of open dirt left in the city. So those new residents and properties and new uses are going to come from existing areas. So we worked very closely with Haider Alawami and looking at what are the potential for the future, and tried to put the best guesstimate. And if you think about this, this is a planning document. This will be updated after the general plan is redone, and typically these types of plans and studies are updated every 5 years, or if there's a significant change in the community. Don't anticipate any significant changes, but the general plan will change the outlook going forward. So that's they are estimates, but that's kind of where it came from.
Thank you.
So basically, it's kind of a living document that allows us to see the areas that we need to anticipate and maybe apply for grant monies and things of that nature, which I know we've had success in the past by identifying the problem and the solutions and coming up with. And I do want to just, well, no, I'll bring it up later. Sorry. Stay on this topic. Yeah, I like this report. It's very comprehensive. Yeah.
And one more thing I want to add, that these mitigation projects then become the basis for your traffic impact fees. So when somebody redevelops a property and adds mixed use or increases the density of that property and creates additional trips, you need to have a document such as this that justifies those fees, and that is. And I want to go back to the ICU versus the HCM. When we did the survey of the community, even though there's, in our minds, everything out there is operating at level C, and everything's great, we have plane capacity on all our roadways. Folks feel that there's a traffic issue here in Thousand Oaks. It may only be for 20 minutes a day, but during that 20 minutes, somebody is delayed, and they feel it. And we feel that this HCM methodology actually better reflects what people are actually feeling on the ground. And
I can tell you that is 100% accurate. Whenever a friend finds out I'm on the Traffic Commission, I receive a call within 48 hours explaining to me that they sat at Lynn and Hillcrest for 5 to 7 minutes, which we all know is not possible, and I certainly hope he's watching tonight. But I hear this all the time, and it's not just from one person. First of all, I think, as people are more rushed and they want to get from point A to point B, I happen to take Lynn over Hillcrest quite a bit, and it really does move pretty well, actually. So, but you're right. The perception of people is, I'm sitting at a light for 10 minutes.
Yeah, and just to illustrate that, I think, 90 seconds is about the longest anybody could possibly wait in any intersection, and it's typically much, much less. It's more in the 45 to 33 second range, so just so everybody knows, don't be impatient. All right. At this point, is this something that, with the members that we have, we're going to make a recommendation to move to present this to the council? Then, would you like? Do you feel all questions are answered, or?
Yeah, perhaps I have one more question, which is whether the report takes into account that the congestion that the residents are experiencing is not due to other Thousand Oaks residents. I mean, the example of Lynn Road. I mean, I would bet my bottom dollar that you've got people taking the 101, getting off at Lynn and driving all the way into Simi Valley, driving all the way into Moore Park, because they're missing. They want to avoid that 101, 405 congestion to get onto the 23. And so for this short period of time, at least, during the peak hour, you're having a lot of people on the road. And so the delay that a lot of people are experiencing for that particular period is not really representative of traffic in the city, experienced as a result of other residents of the city moving through the city. It's due to the development of the cities around us.
I would say that that's correct. But at the same time, the example of Arbalest and Lynn, the left turn movement from Arbalest onto Lynn is probably local traffic, and that's where they're feeling the frustration. They probably are sitting there thinking, I'm watching all these people come from Simi Valley in the morning driving down Lynn, and I'm sitting here waiting to turn left. So maybe there's a little, that makes them anxious too. But, you know, that could be part of it. But yeah, all the traffic, it's community wide, especially diversion from the freeways. The freeway backs up, we're going to see more traffic on our local streets.
And I can guarantee you later this year, shortcut traffic, which we refer to, will be preeminent in any change we make to any neighborhood, because you change one thing and everybody's saying, but now they'll come down my street. So we have, and that's when all these seats are full, because, you know, everybody wants to keep it. It's the NIMBY thing, right? Not in my backyard, but we're always trying to find the right solution. So, all right, then I think if all the questions, anybody want to make a motion?
I will. I'd like to move that we consider the staff report. We haven't received any additional public input, and we recommend the City Council adopt the mitigation project identified in the draft citywide traffic impact mitigation Nexus study.
Would you like to second it?
I will second that motion.
All right.
Commissioner Emo,
Yes.
Vice Chair Lemo,
Yes.
Chair Gregory.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-0.
All right. I like information. This is interesting. Let me just get through. Whoops. Let me use my little shortcut note. Sorry about that. Engineer report. Next page. All right. All right, I'm skipping over a whole lot of public comment here that we didn't have. I'm not on the right page. There we go.
Excuse me, Chair Gregory.
Yes.
Yes, I need to make an announcement here after the votation.
Okay.
The Traffic Commission makes recommendations to the City Council, and interested parties may attend the City Council meeting and speak either for or against the recommendation of the Traffic Commission. Any person wishing to appeal a decision of the Traffic Commission shall file a written appeal and pay an appeal fee with the City Clerk Department within 14 calendar days of the decision. The matter will be referred to the City Council at the earliest reasonable and available date. The appeal fee will be refunded only if the City Council overturns the Traffic Commission's decision. An appeal form is available from the recording secretary. Thank you.
All right. So, anybody out there listening, please, if you don't agree, there's a process in place. All right. So, moving on to 10B, where we have our monthly status school safety team bicycle advisory information. I have Jim Mashiko giving this one, or it's going to be.
I'll cover it.
Oh, great, Kathy,
Okay.
you're back
So
in.
in your packet, you have the summary notes from 2 school safety team meetings that were conducted, one at Ladera and one at Lang Ranch, and also the bicycle advisory team met in December. And I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
All right, anybody have any questions? I was there, so I don't have it too many.
You have the most educated question.
Yeah, well, I can tell you we didn't stand in the rain. We kept delaying it, and it took a while to have the meetings at a couple of these sites because of the weather. But yeah, I think the schools were happy that we showed up and we gave them some good input. And as is typical, a lot of times problems, you know, if you review all your options, the solution presents itself, and we're in a holding pattern that they take our suggestions and implement a few things that they were willing to do, and then we'll probably be back there at some future date. So that was pretty much it. I had a question about the bat. And I noticed in here that we have a pilot program going on at CLU for the Bird electric, what was one, scooter. Do we know if that ever implemented yet, or?
So when the BAT met in December, the pilot program was being considered by Bird and CLU in the city, and we had an interim agreement with Bird. At this point, Bird has completely is not moving forward with the launching a program in the city. So what was in December is not happening anymore.
Which is probably appropriate in the respect of the light foot traffic that we have everywhere.
That's true.
But at least we won't be tripping on any of those things parked in, obnoxious places. So, yeah, I was just curious about that because I have gone to other communities, and you know what? My experience, if it doesn't fit the community, you see them laying there for a little while, and then they all disappear. Right. Because the utilization either has to be there, or financially it's just a big money drain. So I guess I'm glad that figured itself out. All right, then we are in, one second here, status report, Traffic Commission recommendations. We have none. Any commission referrals? Let me see here. No, we have none. Work program commission schedule. Anybody, any of the commissioners have any questions about future areas or intersections or anything that's come up that they'd like to throw at staff at this point? Okay. Wow. Then this might be my shortest meeting ever. Yay! Because I am going to adjourn it. And the Traffic and Transportation Advisory Commission is now adjourned until 6 p.m. on April 17th in the boardroom of the Civic Arts Plaza on the 3rd floor. Good night and be safe, everyone.